Welcome, TMNT fans. In the previous episode, I've talked about the other 5 seasons of the 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series. Now, we fast forward to 1994 to 1996 as I talk about the last 3 seasons, aka the Red Sky episodes is what fans call due to the sky being all red. And believe me, you'll see changes in this series. The animation looks darker, which reminds me of the animation from Batman the Animated Series, also more action-oriented. The Turtles are now more serious, so are Shredder and Krang. We also got some new villains, but sadly we have characters being phased out in this season. Though things have been getting stale for the past few seasons, which is good because it gets boring and tiresome. Not to mention the Red Sky episodes get criticized by fans, and you know what? I absolutely like it. It appeals to my interest. A lot better than seasons 2 through 7 because those 6 seasons were nothing but goofiness and unappealness.
Sellouts.
Plus, Shredder's voice is now done by William E. Martin in this season. So anyway, let's get this show started, shall we, folks? First, we'll start with Get Shredder. In this episode, the Turtles heard a break-in on the police scanner saying there's a guy with a metal mask and 2 freaks, known as Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady, who are breaking in a facility, and Shredder brings out a barrel of dangerous chemicals, causing it to explode. Shredder informs Krang they need new weapons and vehicles. Krang then gives Shredder a brochure showing him a pavilion called the Hall of Science, which will make a great hideout and may contain scientific equipment. The Turtles head for the break-in. They find Krang's prints from his bubble walker and the brochure, and head for the pavilion to stop Shredder, when all of a sudden Berserko appears and starts attacking for invading his territory and orders his cyber drones to capture Krang, when the Turtles caught him from escaping. Shredder finds out Krang isn't here. Rocksteady asks the last time he saw him the Turtles captured him. Berserko reveals Krang he is none other than Dracus, the guy who helped Krang design the Technodrome, betrayed him, and wants revenge on Krang. Berserko shows Krang the Annihilator, this big-ass vehicle that's more mobile and affects 20 times its original firepower, and tells him how to fix the drive system, otherwise he threatens to kill him by putting him into the heat ray. Krang was forced to tell Berserko how to fix the drive system. Meanwhile, Shredder contacts the boys in green to give Krang back, or else he threatens to blow up Channel 6. The Turtles head for the Hall of Science to rescue Krang while Donatello fixes up the van. The Turtles arrive at the pavilion, took out the cyber drones, and rescue Krang. Then, as soon as they arrive, get ready folks, this is one of the most shocking scenes in this episode. Here it is.
Excellent. It's not possible.
You see that, folks? Channel 6 has been destroyed, never to be seen ever again. This was a good episode. It could have had a sad ending, but still, a good episode, plus a very colorful one as well. And it features the appearance of the Hall of Science, the only appearance of Berserko, aka Dracus, voiced by Jim Cummings, his cyber drones, the Annihilator, and the last appearance of the Channel 6 building that we all know for 7 seasons. Wrath of the Rat King. The Turtles investigate the Hall of Science to see what Shredder and Krang are up to. That is when Bebop and Rocksteady defend the pavilion. Shredder tells Krang that they'll find a way throughout the defenses. Krang tells Shredder not to worry, thanks to the equipment Berserko left behind. He'll restore communications with Dimension X and have the Technodrome at their command once again. Shredder decided to meet an old friend, the Rat King. Now wearing a trench coat and a hat, also allies with Shredder, and to make things worse, General Drag sends Krang's personal weapon called
The Shockwave.
Ooh, he sounds menacing in this episode. Doesn't he sound menacing, folks? He sure does. But due to the intense gravity of the black hole, the shockwave got transported to the streets and taken to a research center. Krang tells Bebop and Rocksteady to get it. When the Turtles returned to their lair, a couple of rats started chewing up the place till the Rat King appears and started attacking the lair. And as a reward for getting rid of the Turtles, Shredder gives him some new mutagen for the rats while he and Krang get to the facility to retrieve the shockwave. As soon as they arrive and got the shockwave, the Rat King turned against them. What a dirty rat. See folks, that's what happens when you ally with the Rat King. He can't be trusted. But this is yet another good episode. Yet sadly, this was the last appearance of the Rat King and the only appearance of
The Shockwave.
State of Shock. a couple of unknown ninjas started investigating at the power station to tap into an energy source. Then the turtles arrived, battled the ninjas, and took half a map when they retreated. Donatello uses his decoder and decoded 2 words on the map, Emeryville and Green Power. Just then, Wesley Knight appears and attacks the turtles, but they escaped. They contact April about Dark Water, an organization that trains the army into top commandos and have super high-tech equipment. All of a sudden, a couple of ninja thieves came out of the Green Power building and the turtles follow them to an aircraft hangar and seize their leader Megavolt, who looks like a cross between Darth Vader and a Transformer. What's also funny is that Disney never sued Fred Wolf for using the name of the villain from Darkwing Duck. The turtles come in and want to join Megavolt's organization. To do that, they have to defeat Megavolt himself, but he is very powerful. And what's cool about him is that his electrical energy blasts can turn into swords, axes, spears, you name it. Megavolt accepts the turtles to join his organization and help his ninjas by breaking into a furniture store. They go inside a back room which is a technological lab containing a sparkling green box that happens to be a form of concentrated energy. Once they return to the headquarters, the turtles want to know what this is all about. Megavolt reveals that he is Alex Winter and transforms into a big-ass armored insect that looks like what you see in cliché monster movies and terrorizes the city. The storyline in this episode is pretty good, having the TMNT be bad guys, and features the only appearance of Megavolt, aka Alex Winter, voiced by Tony J, his ninjas, Wesley Knight, and the last appearance of Vernon the Snob, and everyone's favorite boy crazy hot sexy nerd, Irma. Next, we have the 3-part episode about Havoc, which stands for Highly Advanced Variety of Creatures who happen to be a gang of mutants. There's Overdrive, a cheetah-like mutant who has super speed. Amok, I have no freaking clue what kind of mutant he is. Raptor, an eagle-like mutant who is voiced by Pat Fraley. A scorpion-like mutant named Seizure who can extend his arms. An insect-like mutant with big eyes named Highbeam. A ram-like mutant in blue armor, and another mutant named Magma, who are all led by Titanus, not to get confused with the name of a mobilized carrier Zord from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, folks. In Part 2, Titanus finds his Flux Transformer located at a heavily guarded military base. With it, he and his followers will make them masters of time and space travel. Also in that episode is with Michelangelo being blamed for goofing off, plus this episode was the last appearance of Bern Thompson. In Part 3, a police named Krakus came from the year 2066 and is after Titanus, who also came from the future and wants to take over Earth. He accepts the turtles' help to stop Titanus by sending him to the prehistoric era, and was never to be seen again. Thus ends the 3-part story on the Havoc Gang. Cyber Turtles. This is a very good episode and a very personal favorite of mine. Shredder and Krang have stolen a rare telescope called the Astro Viewer so that Krang would turn it into a dimensional portal. He then sees an alien starfighter and discovers they have the Firestar, a crystalline fragment of matter. It contains the power of 1,000 suns. Whoever holds it will be invincible, and Krang thought it was just a legend. He then blasted the starfighter, bringing it down to Earth. Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady head inside the starfighter and use a stun grenade to stun the aliens known as Glaxons for 10 minutes and stole the Firestar. Shredder gives Krang the Firestar. Krang then tells him that he was planning to turn the Astro Viewer by opening a portal to Dimension X by using the power of the Firestar to destroy the dimensional boundary altogether, bringing 2 worlds into one, making Shredder and Krang absolute masters. Elsewhere, the Glaxons are still in search of the Firestar, so Commander Korak orders his troops to fetch the cybersuits, turning them into giant cyborgs. The turtles escape from their prison cell, put on the cybersuits, and it's morphin' time! Now they're ready to kick some cyber ass a la Megazord style from Power Rangers. The Cyber Turtles were also seen as figures from Playmates Toys and the Archie comics as well. There's also a humorous line with Raphael where he and Donatello defend the city from the Glaxons.
Boy, are we gluttons for punishment or what?
It also has scenes with Casey Jones battling Shredder and the Turtles clobbering the Glaxons, thus destroying their cyber suits. This was a good episode, but sadly it features the last appearance of everyone's favorite vigilante, Casey Jones, and the only appearance of the Glaxons. Turtle Trek. Shredder, Bebop, and Rocksteady have installed an energy transmitter at the power relay station. The Turtles arrived trying to stop them, but failed. At the lair, the Turtles started arguing. Splinter then tells the Turtles that capturing Shredder isn't their goal, and doing good is their primary purpose. Back at the Hall of Science, Krang has built a new trans-dimensional portal, and now he and Shredder have access to Dimension X. That is when Donatello's equipment has picked up a massive power surge from the Hall of Science. The Turtles head to the pavilion, which is deserted, and as soon as they are about to head to the portal, they heard a cry for help from inside a prison cell where they meet an alien named Gargon. He tells the story that he was abducted by Krang and used him to test out a new experimental mutagen. They free Gargon in exchange to find the whereabouts of Shredder and Krang in Dimension X. The Turtles are being a little suspicious with Gargon leading directions till they battle the Wrecking Crew by wagering their weapons. After the fight, they escape into a spaceship that looks rather familiar to the Neutrinos flying car, which is interesting by the way. The Turtles and Gargon then crash landed on planet Bellerothon, where they end up in a war against the rock soldiers who are attacking the village. They started arguing again, and Michelangelo tells them to do something good for other people, and you know, Mikey does have a point there. So they battle the rock soldiers. After that, they started arguing once again. And here's something interesting from Raphael, folks.
Maybe what we need is a new leader.
This looks rather familiar, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? Where have I seen something like this before?
Oh, so that's the plan from our great leader, huh? Just sit here on our butts.
I never said I was a great leader.
Well, you sure act like it sometimes.
Yeah? Well, you act like a jerk sometimes, you know that?
You know what? Yeah, it does look rather familiar to the first film in 1990. However, I do remember Shredder saying a certain dialogue that sounded so familiar.
Farewell, accursed enemies.
Holy shit, where the hell have I heard that dialogue before? Sounds familiar.
Farewell, accursed enemies.
Wow, I haven't heard him said that dialogue since Season 3 back in 1989. This episode did feature some interesting stuff, and the only appearance of Gargon, the Wrecking Crew, the Retro Mutagen Cannon. But sadly, this season was the last appearance of General Trag, the Rock Soldiers, and two certain characters who we all know, Bebop and Rocksteady. Well, this totally wraps up Season 8, but I ain't done yet, Turtle fans. Stay tuned as I talk about the last two seasons.